Hello, YouTube friends. I feel weird being back in front of the camera. It's been, what, 7 months since my last video. A lot has happened. A lot is continuing to happen. Um, and I made a huge mistake. We've been in this house for a little over a year now, and we've done all this work to it and all these incredible things. And there's still so much that we want to do, of course. But I documented none of it except for some pictures. I felt like the video editing was taking up so much time. So I'm going to do so much less editing. It's just going to be, you get what you get. This is how it is type thing. So I just want to start with showing a tour of everything that we've done. I'll pop some pictures up of what it used to look like so you can kind of get a sense for what all we've done and what it looks like today. I've grown an entirely, way too many, my corn is attacking me, vegetables this year. And what I have found a new passion for is cut flowers and making bouquets and giving those away, and who knows what the future holds with that. But it has been every day me coming out here and looking for the newest flower to cut off and put in a vase. So you'll see how many tomatoes that I've grown, and we just didn't use them. We're giving away to people, which was fun, but it was space that I would have much rather enjoyed with cut flowers. So let's go ahead and take a tour, and I'll show you our little backyard. So as I step off of our deck, this is the view of everything in our backyard. My little greenhouse, which I spend way too much time in just tinkering. And this lovely little patch I call Tomato Row. So I've got all kinds of varieties. Some I like, some I didn't like. My basil patch, which I've had a lot of fun cutting off of that and using that for cut flowers. Some random squash. And I've got all these different tomato plants. So 19 total on this row, each one held up by a stake and then secured up and then going over into no man's land. So a bunch of cherry tomatoes. I've got the Brad's Atomic Grape tomato, which is one of my favorite tasting ones. The largest citronella plant that I've ever seen. A lime tree. A sunrise bumblebee tomato, which is actually really good. A couple of the Chef's Choice, which I do have some bigger ones that I'm going to get to harvest here soon. The black strawberry tomato, and then the moneymaker. So they've all been hit or miss for me. And you'll see down at the bottom, I just have some plants, some marigolds, petunias I grew from seed, all of that. But this is where I picture next year, where I can do a ton of cut zinnias, I can do some dahlias, and that can be a really nice cut garden for me for next year. And then we'll go back up here. Excuse the lawn. I'm having a battle with something or another. So I built these almost 4x8 raised beds out of the galvanized tin and then some lumber there. And that has been basically just to prevent the dogs from getting into them. So on this one here, I've just got some zinnias. I've got some really pretty varieties. The Jazzy Red, the Queen Lime series is coming in really pretty. Some of the Elegance Mix. And then tucked down in here, I've got my Gomphrena, which I've been picking off like crazy because I love it. Basil and the Celosia, and then some random pepper plants that made their way over into this bed. I do have everything hooked up to an irrigation, a very homemade irrigation system, so I don't have to spend 2 hours a day. Some snapdragons, I've had those since spring, and they're coming back now that it's cooling down at night a little bit. This was a corn patch, so I've torn all the corn out. I've thrown in some brassicas, some sunflowers just for fun. And the status, this was something that I did the winter seed saving in the milk jugs, if you remember that. But that one's coming out really nice. And again, I've cut and picked so much of that already, so that's what we have left of it. And of course my marigolds, and I want to do some dried flower stuff this year just as experiments to see how those do. I should show you, I did put gutters on the greenhouse. So I've collected as much rainwater as possible, and I just have those tied together back here via gravity. So I just have one inline pump running to the inside of the greenhouse for water. I do have electric ran out, and this is just my favorite view in the whole yard. So pretty. So it is not a tidy environment. This is again where I tinker. For instance, I'll cut a birdhouse gourd in half and have a bowl just because. So I did have some tomatoes strung up across here, and I decided to not do that. Cut them down and did some cucumbers just to see what I can get out of that. Just some random annuals that I have in here, some amaryllis bulbs that I'm overwintering or will bring back out here in holiday time. Some cactus, some of the sunflower heads that I've saved that have already bloomed, and then all my fun flowering stuff over here. There's a bunch of citrus trees. These eucalyptus trees, they actually grew from seed back in February. I should say it is the 2nd of September now, and I have 6 plants total throughout the property that I just love how they smell. Yum. So that will be full of, hopefully, just full of seeds come February, March time. The next raised beds, these were an attempt at dahlias, and I think what happened is I had a lot of topsoil brought in for this project, and I don't have enough organic matter. So I'll show you my compost bin and what I'm going to try to do to get some more microbes back in the soil. But next year, I'm hoping for a much better harvest. I can tell halfway through the season, a lot of these things are starting to take off. Like I've got some bell peppers, the ginger is doing really well. Planted here, I've got some lettuce, radishes, carrots down here at the end, some kale. We'll see what happens with all that. But I just want living roots in the ground at all time to help with this soil. It's just dead soil. And I've got all my jalapeno trees. These things are ginormous. I need to get, again, I'm not using very many. Some of them are already going red, so I need to get in there and start making the spicy margaritas or salsa. This was an accident. Thank you to the squirrels. Somebody is feeding them peanuts in our neighborhood, and we were transitioning from pansies in one of the pots to something or another, and we found buried peanuts that were growing. So we decided, heck, we'll see what happens with them. So we'll be harvesting those at some point in the fall, I think. Started a little asparagus patch, some beets, and then our eggplants. We have 3 eggplant plants. We will not be having 3 next year. They are huge, and we have gotten like 15 eggplants already, and we've eaten about half of them, and the other half we've just given away. This is the bed that will be garden next year. The rest is just going to be cut flowers. And then here where I have the raised containers, that's going to be where I have just a very limited collection of tomatoes that I think we'll actually use. So we're still going to have some garden space for veg here. I've got some carrots here that I planted much earlier on, and they're doing well. Have to get out in there and see what's happening. Before we hit the back patio, I've got this one little side patch. And I have these elephant ears got ginormous. And they are bulbs or corms, I guess, that we saved from last year. And you can see just against my hand, these things are ginormous leaves. So those are really fun. They'll probably make their way to another space next year, depending on what we end up needing for next year. That's where we'll be doing the cut flowers. So then I have, this place is just mainly perennials throughout. I have a couple dahlias that are hit or miss. My purple hyacinth bean vine has done phenomenally well over here in this area. And then I've got all my ajuga, if you can see all of that, that I was trying to do like a living mulch, and it has done really well covering up that ground, so I don't have to worry about mulching or anything. My gladiola experiment, I don't think they're super happy, but we're going to cut some of those today. You see some of the dahlias that I planted. And I'm going to back up and show you my corn patch. This is the glass gem corn. So it's kind of that, I guess it's a popcorn, or you can use it for milling down, but we're just going to use it for fall decor. You can see the last of my sunflowers back here. And then on this side of the garage, it's kind of boring. Just a couple of the irises, some clematis, and I've got, I forget what that one is, stone something, that I'll probably be cutting, to be quite honest. Some random squash and pumpkins. I had a terrible time with squash bugs this year, just picking them off because I'm trying to do no chemicals at all. A really pretty hydrangea. and then my compost bin over here. These, I'll have to do another video on these. I have a just a bucket of water for the mosquitoes to try to keep them away. And then I've got the mosquito dunks on top. And then I, of course, had to put some plants in there as well. But this is the back property. So this is you probably can't tell how bad of a hill it is. So I just threw all kinds of stuff back there. Some more seeds from some of my coworkers that have given me that I planted, and they overwintered well. That hardy hibiscus back there is actually one that was part of the winter seed sowing. So it has bloomed and is continuing to bloom, which I love. These stakes here, I have some yellow squash. I'm trying to do a later planting so that I can see if the squash bugs are easier to deal with. And then I've just got a random tropical jungle. Let's get back through here, through my rather pretty sunflowers. Whatever this chocolate mix is. Love it. I have several different types of canna lilies. I don't at this point know what is a yellow squash and what is a cucumber. They've all kind of gone together, and that's okay. This variety of canna, they all say that they're perennial, so we'll see if they truly come back or not. Some more, but my favorite thing that we put back here were these ginormous banana trees. I'm in zone 6B, borderline 7, so these are supposed to come back every year as long as they're well mulched in the winter. So hopefully if I can keep up with this, I'll show you the mulching process, because you should just be able to use their leaves. But these things are ginormous. They're at least 9-10 feet tall, and they're just fun. They're purely there for our enjoyment. Take you on a close-up of some of these. I have marigolds that I've thrown all throughout here. This is the Baptisia false indigo that was part of that cold or winter seed sowing, and they're doing well. I've heard that they're supposed to flower after year 3, so we'll see how they do. Beautiful hibiscus. You'll see there's one flower there. A bunch more are ready to pop up on that. And the rest. Okay, time to make some hodgepodge type flower arrangement. So I'm going to cut one of my about to be red gladiolas. I like all the videos I watch, people are stripping in the field or my little backyard, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to try to do the same. I'm going to come over here and grab this red dahlia, or Arabian Night, I think it's called. It's gorgeous. And what the heck, I'm going to take the other one too. This one's got 2, so I'm just going to take the spent one off. Okay, we're getting a start. And then down here, I've got a really pretty corally color that still has some life left in it. So I've got, let's see what you can see here. Some of the older ones, I'm just going to rip those off. So I still have a pretty nice stalk. And then right below us, I see another really pretty about to open dahlia. I'm going to throw that in the mix too. And of course, we've got to have our greens. So I just have some basil over here that I'm going to pull. And this one is sweet basil, so just a regular old culinary one. And I like to cut way down so I get a nice long stem. That is just thick. And I'll just strip so much of the leafage away. And this, I'm going to have to cut this down because it's just humongous. That's actually a good stem there. Maybe a little shorter, but it shall do. I love doing things in odd numbers, so I'm going to do 3 of this. And the rest, I'm just going to leave the compost in place. It's the plan. And then so far, obviously this is not arranged, but that's what we have thus far. I think I need some purple just to make me happy. So let's go grab some zinnias. All right, I'm not sure how much of this you all are going to be able to see, but I'm doing my wiggle test. So if you don't know what the wiggle test is, if you wiggle it and the whole plant kind of moves, you're good to go. But on this one, if you wiggle it and see how floppy that is, hopefully you can see that. That is not ready at all, and you'll get broken, or like the flower will just fall over. And that is not what you want in a vase. So I'm just going to get some of the salmon and purpley color zinnias to add to our mix. I'm cutting them very far down for their next shoots to be hopefully longer. That one might have been a little too soon, because see what his head did? So we'll compost him in place and find some more. Okay, I think that is enough for this eclectic little mix that I'm doing. Okay, I have all of my flowers and foliage and basil, oh my. So I'm just going to lay out what I have. I'm going to start with my big hero flowers. So that's going to be the gladiolas. You know, you've got the red one that's not open yet. This pretty peach one that still has a little bit of life left in it. And then I'm going to do some of my greens. So I'm just going to do my basil. I'm going to try to do, you know, I like my threes or odd numbers. So I'm going to try to make that even all around. I'm going to do some of my dahlias on the outside of that just to add some more fun. That's pretty. Then I'm just going to sink it in with some of our fun summer color zinnias. And this is a super eclectic, super fun summer bouquet for myself, for my table. So, and there a white one popped in, we'll add that over here. It is just for me. This is following no rules. I'm probably doing something wrong, but if it's pretty, to me, it's not wrong. Need some color up here. Uno más. Let's do back here. I love that. That's fun. Now I'm just going to trim. I'm going to try to measure it against my base and just trim them down. Trying to do it at an angle so I don't stop them up. I'm going to tie. I just have some cotton yarn that I'm using for now. I really need to go get some rubber bands. Okay. And that is it. Let's see how it looks. Love it. That makes me happy. So anywho, now you know where I've been hiding. I've been enjoying the backyard. It's been a blast, and figuring out what my new passion is, and cut flowers and less veg and just more pretty things when just makes me happy. So that's where hopefully next year I've got my seed list going on for what I want next year. I'm seeing what seeds I can save for myself, and oh, it's, a project. Every winter, I think every gardener gets into that mode where we just want to grow it, and we want to grow it now. So that's kind of where I am, and it's only September. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'm really hopeful to be a little more consistent in my vlogging so you all can keep up, and I love documenting it for myself too. So thanks for coming back, and enjoy your day.